Amid growing American control over Venezuela's oil, the US military has now seized two oil tankers. It's the Marinera and the Sofia, linked to Venezuela after tracking it across the Atlantic over the past 2 weeks. And all this as a part of a US blockade of Venezuelan oil exports. A video now shared by the US shows the moment the US Coast Guard boarded the oil tanker Sofia in what it calls a meticulously coordinated operation. The US also seized the Marinera, a Russian-flagged oil tanker that was being shadowed by a Russian submarine, a move that could drastically increase tensions between Washington and Moscow. It was earlier called the Bella 1. The tanker was sanctioned by the US in 2024 for operation within a shadow fleet of tankers transporting illicit oil. And well, for more on this, my colleague Disha Bagchi is now joining me live. Disha, at this point of time, it seems like things are escalating after Trump announced that Venezuela will send 30 to 50 million barrels of oil to the US. And now what we're reporting is that US has seized two Venezuela-linked vessels. How do you see the situation panning out from now? And do you see the situation escalating from here on?
Absolutely, Raisha. So what we're seeing is US military action really escalating when it comes to controlling Venezuela's oil. Now, we already saw over the last couple of days since the US unprecedented operations in Venezuela, since then US President Trump as well as other officials have made it very clear that the US is now going to control Venezuela's oil, but not its government. And now with this deal that they've also signed with Venezuela on 30 to 50 million barrels of oil being transported to US. But now when it comes to its seizure of these tankers, well, the US has made it very clear saying that these tankers have always been sanctioned and now they're going to continue their operation and in fact escalate these operations targeting these oil tankers which are facing sanctions and embargoes by the US government, and to basically stop the supply of Venezuelan oil to Iran, to Russia, to China, which were importing oil from Venezuela despite being sanctioned by the US. So this is what the US is doing, and whether this is going to really escalate tensions with China, with Russia, Iran, that is what we need to keep a close eye on. Now, because remember that one of the vessels that were seized was in fact being shadowed by a Russian submarine. Russia had deployed a submarine to escort this ship which was trying to subvert these the US Coast Guard. But then the US Coast Guard was in fact able to seize this ship. So really the tensions are now going to escalate with US and its other adversaries, Russia, Iran and China.
Right, Disha, thanks for getting us latest on that.